Sometimes you may want to select part of an image and then apply something, for example, an effect to that part of an image. To do so, you need to use either the Marquee tool or the Lasso tool. Now let's see what you can do with these two tools. The Marquee tool allows me to make a selection in different geometrical shapes. So for example, right now I want to select the rectangular Marquee tool, and that will allow me to make a selection in the form of a rectangle. So I bring the mouse cursor over the image. I, for example, click here and then drag the mouse and make this selection. And now, as you can see, I have selected this part of the image, and I can now apply something only on this part of the image. So for instance, I select the brush tool, and then I start just to click and drag and draw something over here. So as you can see, the changes are now only applied to this part of the image. As you have noted, it is not possible to make changes outside of the selection zone. For example, if I select the eraser tool and try to erase this part of the image outside of the selection zone, it is actually not possible, as you can see. So I can only make changes inside this selection zone. In order to deactivate the selection zone, what you need to do is go to the Select menu and then click Deselect. As you can see, the selection is now deactivated. You can also click on the Marquee tool and hold, and then have access to Elliptical Marquee tool. So I choose Elliptical Marquee tool, and then I'd be able to select part of the image in the shape of an ellipse. So let's say, for example, that I have selected this part of the image and I would like to move it to another layer and then remove the rest of the image. So what I can do is to go to the Edit menu now, click on Cut, and then create a new layer, and then go back to the Edit menu again and press Paste. And now I have moved part of the image from the other layer to this layer, and I can go back to the previous layer and just remove that. So as you can see, you can use the Marquee tool to also delete or remove parts of the image that you don't need. Sometimes you may need to make selections that are not rectangular nor elliptical. In such a case, you may want to use the Lasso tool. The Lasso tool actually works like scissors, and it allows you to make freehand selections. So let's see how it works. So I click on the Lasso tool, and I move the cursor over to the image, and I just click and drag. And then you can actually draw the selection as you want with the motion of the mouse. If I click and hold on the Lasso tool, I will also have access to Polygonal and Magnetic Lasso tools. So let's see what they do. So first I choose Polygonal Lasso tool. Polygonal Lasso tool actually allows me to make selections in the form of a polygon, but with straight edges. So I bring the mouse cursor over here, I click and then just move the mouse here, click again, move it to where I want, click again, and then move again, and I continue doing that to create the selection in the form of a polygon with straight lines. The Magnetic Lasso tool is very useful when you want to select the outlines of an object. Let's say, for example, I would like to select this person here. So what I do is that I select the Magnetic Lasso tool, and then maybe I just zoom in a little bit so we can see this better. And I click at the edges of the head of this person. So maybe I just click here and then start to slowly move the mouse. And as you can see, the computer automatically finds the outlines of this person and starts to stick the lasso around those edges. So what I do now is just to move the mouse very slowly along the edges and allow the computer to calculate and find out where the edges are. But you should be careful that this is sometimes not very accurate, so you may need to intervene at different stages during this process. For example, you may want to click on every edge, for instance, to make this a bit more accurate. Now I have finished selecting this person using the magnetic lasso tool. As you can see, the result is actually pretty decent. If you want to select the edges of an object, perhaps a faster method is to use the quick selection tool. To access the quick selection tool, you just need to click here on the magic wand tool and then hold. Then you will have access to all these options, and I choose the quick selection tool here. So the quick selection tool actually works like a brush. So I have a number of options up here. So for instance, I can select the size of the brush. So as you can see, now the size of my brush is larger. Or I can reduce the size of the brush and make more accurate selections. So let's see how it works. I put it, for example, somewhere in the middle, and then I go to the image. Now I just click on different parts of this image, and as you can see, those parts are selected. So let me just continue selecting different parts. And then the hand. All right. So as you can see, I have selected the edges of the object, but in some areas, this selection is not very accurate. But the good thing about the quick selection tool is that you have up here a number of options. For example, we have this option, which is called subtract from selection. And if I click on that, now I can actually subtract from my selection by just bringing the mouse cursor over the unwanted areas and then just click. So as you can see, I'm just deselecting these parts. If you need to be more accurate, you can just click here and reduce the size of the brush, and then you can maybe zoom in and continue modifying your selection until you get the intended results. If you need to add two selections in part of the selection, you can just click on the Add to Selection button here, and then click and hold over the zones in the image that you want to add to the selection. So you can continue doing this until you get the intended results. Now I have finished selecting the image, the parts of the image that I wanted using the quick selection tool, and the result is nice, but there are still some areas that maybe need some more modifications. For example, here close to the between the fingers actually, and some other areas, such as here and here. So first let me remove these areas of the image so that it looks more clear. So what I do is that I go to the select menu, I click on inverse so that I select these areas, actually anything but this person, and then I go to the edit menu and click on clear. When I do that, as you can see, I have removed all the areas that were selected. So let me just deselect now and then zoom in. So as you can see here, close to the fingers, we have some areas that we still see the background of the previous image here. So to remove these, I can simply click on the eraser button and start erasing these gradually. Now I have finished cleaning the image using the eraser tool, and as you can see, the edges of the image are quite nice now.